Brilliant. So welcome. And this evening's practice, there's a full moon still out there. We can't see it this evening, but it's still out there. So I'm going to invite elements of the full moon into our practice this evening. As always, stay within your comfort zone. Because I'm not there with you, particularly on Zoom, it's okay because I can see what people are doing, but on Facebook, I can't. So if at any stage you have a question or anything like that, do put it into your comments, because I will come over halfway through. I'll come over and I'll check just to make sure everyone's okay. I think this is quite important that we keep that connection between ourselves as well. So if at any stage you have any comments, and even afterwards too, please put them there, and I'll check on everyone as well. I might as well halfway through check on everyone, get you to give me a thumbs up just to make sure everything's okay. So hi Moira, how are you? So I had put out on, I think on Sunday, about an intention, if people had an intention for the week ahead, and some of you sent in, so there's a few words there as well. I will read those out. But what I might suggest is, if you don't have already, get yourself a nice journal, and you don't have to write loads in it. It doesn't have to become a big thing. Like, you could even put that intention for the week ahead, whatever it is that you want to bring into your practice. It could be a nice picture you came across, or a saying. Like, I usually have my journal filled with all sorts of bits and bobs. It doesn't have to be sitting down and doing the morning pages. If anyone's ever done that, Julie Cameron's morning pages. I did that years ago. It's actually very good. So it doesn't have to be that, but it can be a nice way of giving you a little bit of focus, putting your intention and your attention into something else as well. So some of the words that came up for intention this week was grounding. Now it's very windy here today, and I'm definitely not getting a sense of grounding at all. I don't really like the wind. So grounding. Acceptance was another one. And sometimes with these words, it can be nice to stay with it and see what your felt sense is with those words, or what may come up as the words come about. And you can even, it can be a sense you can feel or you can imagine. We all have different ways of connecting with things. We all have different ways of learning. We all have different ways of experiencing and navigating our way through the world. So none of us is the same. So it could be slightly different. That's why I'm always saying sense, feel, or imagine. So grounding. Acceptance was another one. Action. And action can come into that thing of manifesting, bringing something about, something, planting a seed, watching it grow into something really good. Patience, which is generally needed with action. And anything that you're trying to manifest or bring about, patience is definitely there. Acceptance, if it doesn't go entirely your way either. And grace as well, to, I suppose, to move through all of that. And again, tied in with acceptance as well, maybe patience too. And then throughout all of that, grounding. So thanks to everyone who sent in their little intentions. And as I said, you can write some of your own in your journal. There's Mum. Hi, Evelyn. So I'm going to center us. I'm going to get us to do a little centering, and then I'm going to move back and we'll start a little bit of movement. And as I said, stay within your comfort zone. Don't work into any pain. I think everyone that's here has done stuff with me before, so you have an idea of how I work, how I do all of this too. So invite yourself now to come to a seated position. It can be on your mat if you like, or in a chair close by. So bring yourself to a seated position and allow yourself to be here now. Allow yourself to be in this space now. In a really nice way that connects us to this present moment, or to where we are right now, is our breath. Can you become aware of your breath without getting involved too much? Almost as if the body is breathing itself. And remember, we can spend a whole day without even noticing that our body does this for us anyway. And where for you this evening is that movement of breath? Or this morning if you're watching it tomorrow. Where is that movement of breath happening for you? Can you become aware of the weight of your body where you sit? And that steady, solid earth underneath you, holding you up. And then moving back to the breath. How would it be to watch that breath a little bit closer and notice perhaps that whisper of air that comes in through the nostrils, and then as it moves through the back of the mouth, down the throat, into the chest and belly or both. And then as you're breathing out, watching that movement of the breath from the belly or the chest or both, up through the throat, the back of the mouth, and then out through the nostrils. How would it be to stay here for a few rounds of your breath, almost following that path? And if it helps you to connect a little bit more, you may attach, if you like, a color or sparkles or light to that breath as you breathe in and breathe out. And as you stay here, as you continue to breathe, if you like, bringing to mind your sankalpa, your positive statement, intention, affirmation, something you say to yourself in the present tense, and repeat that mentally 3 times. And the next time that you breathe out, let go of the practice. Allow your focus, your awareness to come back into the space. Perhaps give the toes a little wiggle, give the fingers a little wiggle, and gently opening the eyes, bringing your focus back into the space. Perfect. So if you want to give me a little thumbs up, just to let me know that you're okay and you can hear me okay. I'm just going to give my nose a little. And that you've come back okay. And I'm going to move back ever so slightly and get our little practice going. Perfect. Thanks, guys. Okay. So, and at the end today as well, when we finish off, that's the sound you're going to hear when I bring you back. Because I think we'll finish in a Shavasana. It's always good to finish in a Shavasana, the pose where we're lying down. All right. So I'm going to move back and we'll get a little bit of a warm up going. So I think If you have, probably should have said this, but if you have a bath strap, a belt, a scarf, anything like that handy, you can grab that. You don't necessarily have to have it, okay? Because I'm going to show you with just your hands as well. I might use my strap here. So I will show you without as well. And this is kind of my go-to stretch. It's rarely I start a warm-up or a practice without doing this first, rarely. Okay, so I'm going to move back, make sure everyone can see me okay. Yeah, perfect. All right. So the first part of this is I'm going to bring my knee, and some of us were doing this in the class already today as well. I'm going to bring my knee in towards the chest, give it a little hug. Now you've got a choice. You can either place the hands around the thigh or behind and bring the leg up. You can also grab your strap, bring it to the ball of your foot and bring the leg up. Okay, so now we're starting. Your knee does not have to be dead straight. If there's a little bend, that's okay. Try and keep it so that it's stacked over your hip joint. And it's almost as if you're pressing slightly, like you want to reach the heel up towards the sky. Now this leg, you can let it come out straight or keep it bent. If you're minding your back, keep it bent. Okay, we're going to have the hands nice and relaxed. So you could be here as well. Rather than behind the knee, bring it at the belly of the muscle. Call that the belly of the muscle. Or you can come behind, around it. Okay, and then that long leg, if you have that out straight, just have the toes flexed up. So we'll just stay here for a breath or two. Just check that you're not holding too much tension in the shoulders or in the jaw. Great. And then we're going to bring the knee in towards the chest, give it a little hug. And we're going to let that foot come down. I'm going to keep that knee bent just while I'm working to the other side. Bring the knee in towards the chest, the other knee, bring it in. And then you're choosing either around the thigh, behind the thigh, or you're using your strap. And your strap is going to be at the ball of the foot. Press up into that heel. So we're getting a little bit of action into our hamstring muscles here. And if you know that your back is okay, keep that foot engaged as well. Have the foot flexed. And when I say flexed, it means like it's that kind of, your foot is at that angle. I can see my foot's disappeared there. Okay, so staying here now for another breath or two. Check the jaw, check the shoulders. Press into the heel. Lovely. And then we're going to bring that knee in towards the chest. Let's bring the other one in. And if you feel like just rolling slightly over and back, you can do that. And then if you know your back is okay, the next time that you breathe out, coming up, bring the chest up. And then inhale, come down. The knees might move a little bit away as you breathe out. Use those abdominals, so draw the belly button back, come up, and then exhale, come down. And we'll do that one more time. On your exhale, I may have got the breath mixed up there, sorry. And then come back. Perfect. Okay, so we're going to move from here directly into a bridge pose. Because we've warmed up these muscles, and these are the guys that help us lift up in our bridge pose. So bring the heels close into the bum. If you're watching the knees, just let the feet come out a little. Hands down beside the body. There's like a space of about that much, like a hip distance in between, so that you have that little bit of space. And now as you breathe in, press into the feet and the hands and lift up lower back, middle back, and upper back. And then exhale, come back down, upper, middle, and lower. So if you have anything under your head, just make sure you don't have anything under your head. You want that length into the neck. So as you breathe in the next time, press into the hands, into the feet, lift up, lower, middle, upper. And exhale, coming all the way down. Nice and easy. Okay, so we're going to do that 3 more times with your own breath. Your inhale is lifting you up, you're pressing to the feet and the hands, and you're lifting up. And then as you breathe out, you're coming down. So we have 2 more to do here. Now, the next time you come up, if you want to stay here, you come up and bring the hands in underneath, clasp the fingers. So it's like you're coming up onto the shoulders a little bit more, and the chest is lifting towards the chin, and you keep breathing. And then how would it be is if you were to get your knees to point over your feet. So it's like you move your knees towards the top of the mat. So it's like you're trying to get them to go over your feet. And then the next time that you breathe out, undo the hands and slowly, gently come back down. Okay, let everything settle here now for a breath or two. Take a nice breath in. And then sometimes, everyone's different. Sometimes I'll see in class, some people like to bring their knees in towards their chest. Some people will like to let their legs come out straight. And then some people want to let their knees go from side to side. So just see what works for you. We are going to do a little twist as well. So this is a really nice warm up. All those moves of the leg, the knee and chest and head coming together, the bridge, and then the twist. That's a really nice full kind of warm up exercise for your back. And it's a nice one to do because you're on the floor. So if we were going to do our twist, we'd bring the arms out and have them in that T coming out, T shape. I've got the wall here. So, and your palms are facing down. So for this twist, we're keeping the knees and the feet together, legs together if your mind's in the back. If the back feels okay, let them come the width of your mat. You can go wider. Okay, we're going to take a breath in here, and then as we breathe out, let the knees float one way, and then turn your head to the other. And as you inhale, come back to center, and as you exhale, over to the other side. So your inhale is going to bring you back to center. Your exhale lets the knees float one way, head turns the other. Inhale, come back. Exhale, the other sides. So we're going to do this maybe 2 more times on each side. Now moving with your own breath, going at your own pace. This is your practice, nobody else's. So for me now, this is my last one that I'm doing. See where you are, take your time. And then I'm coming back to center. I'm going to bring the arms down, and I'm going to roll onto my side and bring myself up again. Okay. So hopefully everyone's doing okay. That's a really nice warm up to do for your back. So I'm going to do a little bit of the Drew moon sequence. I did this morning, and I may have gotten some of it wrong. And of course, I haven't checked if it's the right one I'm doing or not, but we'll wing it and we'll bring in the elements of the moon into this. So the elements of the moon are, the moon is feminine. It's that cooling energy. It's that grounding energy. It's slow, doesn't move very fast. And then, you know, the color, I suppose, the color that I sometimes bring in is that kind of silvery, you know, that lovely silvery moonlight. So even imagining yourself in that silvery moonlight is really nice. It's lovely to do that. Okay. So we're going to begin back here. If you need something, if you need a blanket, underneath your knees. Grab a blanket from underneath your knees. What I might do is I might just move that camera slightly here. And just make sure you can see that. Okay, that's a bit better. All right, so we're bringing the palms of the hands in what's called Anjali Mudra. And there's a little separation in the fingers when you do that. And we're bringing them to the center of the chest. And we take a breath in and out here. And then we're going to bring the left. So the left side is generally associated with the moon or with the feminine. So we're going to bring that left foot through. So if you need to come down and bring it through, do that. Foot is itchy. Okay. So make sure you've got enough space here. We're doing a little bit of a lunge here as well. So you want to have enough space in between here. And if your balance is a little bit off, just let your foot come out to the side. Okay. So we're going to bring the hands forward like so. And then we're going to open out. And then we're going to bring the hands up. And then we're going to come forward. And then we're going to open out again. And we'll come over to one side. And keep your flow breath going here. Come back. We're going to come over to the other side. So we're getting a little side stretch in here as well. And then come back. Then we're going to bring the hands down. And we're going to bring this knee behind. And here we're going to come onto our front. Okay, when we're on our front, we're going to come into a Cobra pose. We're going to do our Cobra 3 times. So in our Cobra, if you're doing low Cobra, which would be where you're watching your back, you let the hands come at your waist or your ribs. Keep the elbows close in. All the while, we're still looking down. I know you have to look at me doing it, but all the while we're still looking. When we go into it, we're looking at the mat. If you're coming up higher, hands underneath the shoulders, feet are flat, and a little press of the pubic bone to stabilize the pelvis into the mat. And as you breathe in, peel either the upper chest or you're coming up a little bit higher if you're in the high Cobra. Keep your gaze onto the mat. And then as you breathe out, come down. So doing that again, you're going to do that 2 more times. Breathing in, peeling up. Exhale, coming down. And then 1 more, breathing in, peeling up. Exhale, coming down. So then from here, we're going to come into what would be called a crocodile pose. So you can let the hands come underneath your forehead if you want. The legs come a little bit wider. So one part. If you want to take it a little bit further, I think some people might call this frog as well. You're going to bend the knee. Now this is not nice if your hips are a little bit tight, so be mindful of that. And the inside of the foot is on the floor. So I'm going to do the same on this side. And it does feel a little bit icky to begin with. And then let the head come and rest. And take a nice long, slow, full, deep breath in. And as you're breathing out, releasing the breath, releasing the body into the earth. And then from here, if you've had the legs in that position, just slowly come back. Let the feet come back to kind of flat to the earth. And bring the hands underneath the shoulders, and we're going to press all the way up. And then this time we're coming into our child's pose. So for child's pose, if you're used to using a cushion or a block underneath your head, please do that. So you could have your cushion under your head like so. If you're watching your blood pressure, don't come down all the way. Just come up halfway, almost like you're doing puppy dog pose. And if you're watching the knees, you might feel more comfortable coming up a little bit higher as well. Now, if none of that works for you, turn around and bring the knees in towards the chest. You can keep a pillow under your head if you want, and release into that. So you can see this is almost like a child's pose, the reverse of a child's pose. So pick which your child's pose, which one you're doing. And then wherever you are, take a nice long, slow, deep breath in again. Remember, we're working with that moon energy. So it's about slowing down. And as you're breathing out, release the breath, release the body into the earth. And then from your child's pose, coming all the way back up, take your time. Coming all the way back up, and we're going to come back up onto the knees. Palms of the hands together, because we did one side, so we have to do the other now. So we're going to take a breath in and out here. And then we're going to bring that right foot through. Make sure you've got that space, and if you need to move out for a little bit of balance, do that too. We're going to bring the hands in front. Keep a flow of breath going. We're going to open the hands out. We're going to bring the hands up and then forward and then out again. And we're going to come over one side, doesn't matter which, we're going to do both. And then come back. We're going to do the other side and come back. And then we're going to let the hands come down onto the ground. We're bringing the leg back, coming down onto the front. So we're coming into our cobra 3 times. Breathing in, keep the elbows in, gentle press the pubic bone to the floor. Exhale down. Inhale, coming up. Keep your gaze onto the ground as opposed to bringing your head back. One more here. And then we're going to come into the crocodile, so you can let the legs come a little bit wider. Just like that is fine. Even letting the feet turn out is okay. Or if you want to bring a bend into the knees, you can do that as well. Bring the hands forward, rest the head. Take a breath in and out. And we'll stay here for 3 breaths, 3 rounds of your breath. Ready, bring the hands underneath the shoulders, legs back to that start position. We're going to gently press up and back. We're coming into child's pose. So pick what your child's pose is for you, which one you find suitable for you. Come into your child's pose and take a deep breath in and then a releasing breath out. And we're going to stay here for 3 breaths as well. And then when you're ready, slowly, gently coming all the way back up. And we're going to come up onto the knees again. So I'm going to break down our moving meditation. Because we're working with the moon, it's going to be slightly slower. So I'm going to break it down and we'll do something in each pose. So we're coming to the knees again. And if you're saying to yourself, oh no, not the knees again, make sure you've got a blanket underneath. If you want to make it a little stronger for yourself, you can always tuck the back toes under. Otherwise, keep the feet flat. Okay. Now you can always do this back here. If your knees are okay and your back is at you, you can always do it back here. Okay. So from here, I'm going to turn this way so you can see me. So from here, as we breathe in, we're going to bring the arms up. As we breathe out, palms together, coming down. We're going to do that again, breathing in. Lovely. Okay, so I'm going to turn this way so that you can see, but we're going to come into our hare pose now. So in our hare position, we're reaching into the fingertips. Now, again, if you're watching the knees, you can always come up a little bit higher. If you're watching blood pressure, stay here as well. If knees are okay and shoulders are okay, reach into the fingertips. Keep the head now in line with the arms. The head does not touch the floor. And we're going to do a little side stretch here. So we're going to walk the hands over to one side. Walk the hands over to one side. And if you like, then looking underneath that side that's getting the stretch. A breath or two here. And then we're going to come back to center, walk the hands back to center. Stay for a breath or two just to settle, reset everything. And then we're going to walk the hands over to the other side. And then looking underneath that armpit of the side that's getting the little stretch, if you want. And then coming back to center. We're going to come up onto all fours. And if you need something under the wrist, just roll up the mat or roll up a blanket, place the heels of the hands onto that. So we're going to come into our cat pose, elbows under shoulders, knees underneath the hips, and there is a little bit of space. I have a little bit of space in between there for that. Okay, so in our cat, as we breathe in, we're letting the belly release to the floor, the head comes up. A little bit, not too much. And then as you breathe out, we're going to round the back and let the head hang. You're doing this 4 more times with your own breath, breathing in. Exhale and round. Breathing in. And rounding as you breathe out. 1 more time with your breath. And then as you breathe in the next time, come back to center. We're going to bring the legs, one leg behind, tuck the toes, press into the heel. Draw the belly button back towards the spine. You can stay here or you can lift the leg. Place it down. And then we're going to bring the opposite hand up, if that feels okay for you. You can always keep it down here. Opposite hand up or down. And then if you're taking it further still, lifting that back leg. So we're pressing into the heel, reach into the fingertips. Don't forget to draw the belly button back about 20%. Keep that engagement. Don't forget to breathe. And then nice and easy, bring the hand down, bring the leg down, and then the knee. Perfect. We're going to do the other side. First, tuck toes under, press back into the heel, lift it up and down. Stay here. Bring the hand, opposite hand up, or keep it down. And then that back leg, if you want, lift up. So same thing, reach and reach. Making sure now your pelvis, that you're not lifting the leg too high, that gets everything out of whack. So keep it so that it's level, parallel. And breathe. Breathe. Perfect. And then hand down, leg down. We're going to do 3 rounds of a cat here, just reset. Breath in and the belly releases. Maybe the chest lifts a little, head comes up a little. Exhale, round the back. 2 more times with your breath. And then inhale, come back to center. Perfect. All right, so I'm going to let my mat out a little bit. I'm going to show you a downward dog. We're going to include a downward dog into our practice this evening. If that is something that you would like to do, be mindful of shoulders. If you're watching your lower back, keep your knees bent. If you've got high blood pressure, I would not necessarily recommend doing this pose because your head is lower than your heart, and you never want that if you've got high blood pressure. So I'm starting with my fingers spread really wide. I'm going to tuck my toes under, and as I lift up, I send my bum back. So it's almost as if I'm pushing the mat away, and I have a deep bend in my knees, but now I'm going to bring my heels towards the floor. They do not have to touch the floor. And there's still a slight bend in my knees, and I'm going to let my head hang. So staying here, if that's comfortable for you, for a few breaths. So some people like the instruction, your thigh bones, as if you were trying to press your thigh bones to the wall behind you. See where that sits. Works, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. And then as you breathe out the next time, coming down on to the knees. And we're going to move back into that hare pose. So again, you can come down to here. And if you're starting to feel any tightness in the neck, come up and just let everything settle. Do a few shoulder rolls. That might take a little tension out of the neck. But if you're okay to do hare pose, come into hare pose, reach the fingers, head stays in line with the arms. And as you're there, as you're breathing in your hare pose, notice where that breath is. Even welcome it a little bit more into the sides of the rib cage and into the back of the rib cage. Another breath or two in your hare pose if you like. And then slowly, gently, we're coming all the way back up. And we're going to come to sit. So if you want to sit on a cushion, do that. Anything where you've got like an even, must be even, little bit of even height. So even a blanket rolled up can be nice for the pelvis because it lifts it up ever so slightly, and it can be nicer on the lower back as well. So we're going to bring the legs out in front. We'll do a little twist here. Am I mirroring? Yeah, so you're going to bring your left leg across. If I get this mixed up, don't shoot me. So probably the easiest way is that leg is the same hand, same arm, that's going to come behind. So you're going to bring those fingertips behind. And when you do that, rather than falling back against that, it's just to let you know the floor is there. So it allows you to lengthen up slightly. I have my long leg, this leg here is engaged, so I have the toes pointing up. And then I'm going to hold with the opposite hand, hold or hug that knee. And it might even come in a little bit more. I'm going to take a breath in here. And then breathing out, slowly turning the rib cage. And you go as far as your exhale, and then you stop and you take a breath in. And then as you breathe out, maybe you move a little bit more, even drawing the belly button back. If it makes you move a little bit more as your exhale. Now, if you like, find your edge, and come back ever so slightly from that edge. And that's where you're going to hang out and work in your. Slowly, gently come back to center. And we're going to release the leg. Give it a little shake. And then bring the other one over. And that same leg, that hand you're going to bring behind. And then the opposite hand is going to hold or hug that knee. We'll take a breath in here. And as we're breathing out, we're turning the rib cage for the length of the exhale. You stop, you take a breath in. And maybe you go a little bit further. Maybe not. Just see how you are. Don't push it, but find your edge. And when you find your edge, come back ever so slightly. And that's where you're going to hang. That's where the magic spot is. And make sure that long leg, that leg that's on the floor, that you have that engaged. And only if you feel your head and neck are okay, that you can turn your head a little bit more, only if that feels comfortable. Releasing any tension out of the shoulders, out of the jaw. And then as you breathe out the next time, slowly come back to center. Bring your leg out and then give it a little shake. So we're going to finish with a little bit of our relaxation in our Shavasana pose. I'm going to show you a couple of ways that you can do that. If you want, you can grab a pillow or a cushion if you've got anything beside you. If you're using a bolster, do that as well. If you want to grab a blanket, you don't necessarily have to. You can always use this as either, so it can depend on, you know, how time is as well. You can either use it as a tool to get everything, get the body to register everything that's just been happening. You can use it as a tool for relaxation, for doing it slightly longer if you have time. It is always advised for Shavasana pose to do it for 15 to 20 minutes. So I invite you now, if you do have that time, as I finish up and close our session, if you do have that time that you can stay on in your rest pose for a little bit longer, I invite you to do that for sure. Okay. So if you're doing constructive rest pose, you lie with the knees bent, legs are a little bit wider, and then the knees come in ever so slightly. If you're coming to it in a different way, and if you want to stay in it for a little bit longer, you can let the legs come out straight. Place something under the knees, place something under the head, put a blanket over you. And then hands can either rest onto the belly or out from the body. Putting something under the knees is nice. It's a little bit gentler on the lower back, as is knees bent. It's nice as well. So when you get down into your Shavasana pose, if you want to make the universal sound of rest, which is taking a breath in, and then, and as you do that, everything just letting go a little bit, breathing in. So for this practice, your eyes can be open or closed. Invite a little bit of stillness now into the body. We've been doing a lot of movement there for the last few minutes. So invite a little stillness into the body. And if you were to start down at the feet, bringing the awareness down to the feet and to the toes. And maybe even noticing that point of connection at the back of the heels. And as if the toes and the feet were beginning to soften and release and relax a little bit more. And then as you move the awareness up through the calves and the shins, and up around the kneecaps, invite a softness, sense, feel, or imagine a softness in around the kneecaps. And this softness or this melting then up through the thighs, the front, back and sides of the thighs, as if the muscle is melting away. The back of the pelvis. And then the lower back, the middle back, the upper back. Inviting these muscles to spread across the mat. And awareness down through the arms to the hands. As if the arms and the hands were slowly dissolving. A sense of relaxation, of calm and stillness coming into the body. And we invite even more softness into the belly, into the chest, into the throat, around the jaw, the cheekbones, the eyes, the temples, and the head. Maybe even noticing that point of connection at the back of the head. So we're inviting the whole body now to rest, the whole body to soften, the whole body to dissolve into stillness. And I invite you now to stay on, if you like, for a few more moments in this rest, in this ease. Welcoming in those qualities of grounding, acceptance, patience, and grace. And now if the willingness is there to stay here for a little bit longer, or if you feel you need to move and welcome yourself back, please do that too. Welcoming in movement. If you need to do a little stretch, a yawn. So again, you may stay in rest, or you may join me in closing our practice this evening. So thank you all for joining in today. No matter where you are, if you're watching it live, if you're watching the recording, I'm going to send a blessing out across to all beings. May all be well. May all be happy. May all be free from suffering. May all be well. May all be happy. May all be free from suffering. Peace to you all. Thanks, everyone. Thank you, thank you. I'm going to finish this, and you can let me know in the comments how you got on.